2K23 is going to release another round of my faction content, and I'm not happy about it. Boo this man. Boo this man is the GIF. That is what you post on Twitter, and you post to 2K right now. They're going to release more of my faction content with a new patch. It's only going to be, I'm guessing, like a gig. So people are going to go, we're getting a new patch update. Minor bug fixes. This what to expect. Minor bug fixes and my faction content. Here's what they're doing, guys. And this has me pretty mad. Joe Mashups has confirmed that Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner is coming to my faction. They're putting Steiner in, Big Papa Pump. They're putting him in as my faction. The big bad booty daddy. We can't get him in the base game. Yeah, Jeremiah, yeah. So it's confirmed from Joe Mashups, who's looked at the recent files with, I guess, a small update or something that has come out. They're putting Scott Steiner as a My Faction exclusive. Patrick Bell says, finally, Scott Steiner, awesome. Well, you might be trolling there, Patrick, because it's not awesome for the rest of the people that don't like My Faction or don't want to have to pay for an exclusive. And if you're a 2K marketing person of sorts, and your feedback is, what's wrong with exclusives? You're paywalling full out new roster additions behind a mode that we can't utilize in anything else. And yeah, we can say this could be available through the modding community. Or you're going to say to me, just get a PC and download anything. No, because the vast majority of people don't play on PC for the 2K games. They play on consoles. Yeah, this might get unlocked through status and other people, but there's a good chance they put a block on it. That's the thing. So we can't assume that status or anybody else can get this unlocked, because we've seen the likes of Triple H and others, Stunning Steve Austin, other character models, Booker T, that were in My Faction, and they can't be uploaded. But then they do random things where they allow you to get Kurt Angle. Like Himothy, it's like, yeah, we have to buy these packs to get these legends. Like, they're going to put in Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner, a full model of Scott Steiner. And they're going to lock it in there. And if it's not unlocked by status in the community, which is bogus to begin with, making the community do workarounds, not making them, they're not allowed to do it technically, but doing workarounds to get it to people, this is a terrible move. My Faction is already not liked by the community. And I wrote this in response to other people online. I was like, I'm really curious what the hell the player base for My Faction is. Because I understand that from my point of view, and from maybe some of you guys, Patrick Bell, regular Scott Steiner with the Steiner brothers is in the base game as DLC. Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner, character model, entrance, theme song, Titantron, look, everything, is not. And 2K is about to put him in as My Faction. Here's the thing. I understand that the Twitter community, X, the YouTube community, and such, that we hold up our pitchforks and we deny My Faction and we yell about it because we don't want it. I understand that that is a small subsection of the market and the community and the user base that doesn't want this. I understand that. People online, on Twitter, on Reddit, it is a smaller amount of people, players, than that of everyone that just buys the game. So we don't speak for everyone. However, I am dying to know what the install base and what the player base is, the active users are for My Faction on a month-to-month or quarterly basis. I cannot fathom that there are a lot of people out there, casual players of 2K, of wrestling, going, hey, My Faction updated. Oh, cool. There's an advertisement. It says I can play as Scott Steiner if I drop $20 in virtual currency to play as him, and I can only play him in the locked mode and I can't play him in anything else. Or I can grind and grind out cards and maybe get him randomly so then I can play as him locked behind the one mode. I cannot imagine, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm just the big dummy in the chair. What do I know? Don't think there are a lot of people that choose to opt into my faction because of the tremendous player base, online capability, vast amount of match types and modes and systems that are in there, a very thorough and well thought out creative system, a well done system that's going to give you tons of player rewards. I don't think people are in there playing that mode at all. I think if you are a casual wrestling fan, WWE fan, a kid, I'm an old man, so what the hell do I know? I'm not the market. I am not the leader in the market. I'm not the active player that they're looking to hunt for, because I'm going to buy the game anyways. They're trying to get the new users, new players to install the game to buy the game. I can't see a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, anybody going, oh yeah, a digital card game for wrestlers. I'm going to play that. I think, like any wrestling fan of any kind, they want to play the game. Time to play the game. They want to play the game. They want to play online with their buddies. They want to do couch co-op with their friends, play some matches, hit each other with chairs, put them through tables, do cool moves, play some universe mode, and bounce. Instead, they do this, and you turn off and anger your core base that will kind of ride or die and buy the product. And maybe that is the problem. We will buy the product, because I see enough of those comments as well that people are like, people need to not buy the game in order to show them that we're unhappy. It's not going to happen. It just isn't. It's like anything with economics and just the globalization and how everything works. We don't like food prices. Don't shop at Walmart. People got to buy food. Now, it's not a one-to-one example, but you know what I mean. You're not going to stop doing the thing at a large scale. People are not going to boycott the game. Scott Bond says that, I wonder if we'll get a Lady Jim pack in 24. Scott, we should, because then you get Michelle and her Lady Jim. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to message Marty M, and I'm going to say, Marty, get off your track and stop creating these arenas and give me my Lady Jim. I want it. What does my faction actually do? What do you win? Johnny Sacks. So you play my faction towers and the weekly events and such. You'll unlock cards. You get digital cards. That's what you get. Now, you'll open up the packs for the rewards by playing these towers and matches and such. You'll unlock either individual cards or you'll get packs. When you open up the card packs like you do in Madden Ultimate Team or anything else, you open up the packs to get random rewards. Usually it's a bunch of trash like side plates and rubies and all this junk that you don't actually use in the matches and don't actually matter or impact that your actual matches in my faction and how it plays. You'll then unlock random cards. You might get a Jey Uso or a John Cena or a Stone Cold Steve Austin of different colors, like a ruby and an emerald and a diamond and a whatever. And then you use that. Then you can play as them in the mode. So with this, what we're talking about is like they're going to release a patch probably next week or so, and it's going to be involving Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump. And that means that his full character model has been created by the 2K dev team. They put it in, they put the theme song, they put the Titantron, the look, the motion, all of it, and they lock it behind the mode. You can then go into my faction, and you could use your own actual money through a credit card, buy virtual currency, to then turn around and individually buy that card so that you can play a Scott Steiner in my faction and use him. By the way, even if my faction was fine, here's the bad thing about my faction. You can't even get the entrances. So you get a Triple H, a Shawn Michaels, D-Generation X, anybody that is exclusive to the mode, you can't even watch the entrance. It goes right to the match. There's no way to change it. So even if you get a Scott Steiner, you can't see his entrance. You just play as him. So you're losing half of it, in my opinion, because it doesn't matter. So you either use your own personal money to unlock him and buy him, and it's still locked behind this paywalled mode, or you don't and you grind out randomly to hopefully unlock him or get enough currency built up in My Faction point rewards, and then you can buy him through virtual currency based on the hours that you put into the mode, thus getting Steiner, but you still can't use him in anything else. I don't know who plays this. That's not all. It's my rant, and I'm not done. FB says, I gotta go back here for a second. FB, thank you very much for your super chats. Punkin 2K24 DLC would be fire. I agree. And then he says, I can't wait for CM Punk to return. I can't wait for Jimmy and Solo to attack Roman and do it for The Rock. Scott Bond, super chat. Thank you, brother. They would make way more money if they just make them faction superstars as individual paid DLC, $5. Yeah. And I'm about to talk a little more of My Faction because Scott Steiner is only the first. Is CM Punk confirmed? Flux Kitten? Rumors are ramping up that CM Punk is going to return to WWE, that they're in talks right now. That's the big word. Here's the thing. We talk a lot of this. It's okay, Flux Kitten. Sit down, have a show. But we're in rant mode right now because we're into talking My Faction. So, what? Someone asked him about AJ Lee, CM Punk? Yeah, bring her back. There you go. We'd be happy. My Faction, to your point, Scott, fans, I've brought this out too. Charge players for the exclusive My Faction to pull them out of the mode. Jeremiah Garcia, if you have a question, just throw it in the chat. You don't have to ask if you have a question. I know players don't like that. They're like, that's bogus. It should just be in the game. I'm with you. I'm always with you. Make it free. But I'm always looking at it from the business side as well. 2K and any video game company is not going to do that. They want to maximize how much money they can suck out of a player for the 8 to 12 months that a game is active. They want all the possible revenue as much as humanly possible. You do that with My Faction, you do that with paid DLC, added content, etc., so that they can boost that thing after the initial sales run. So I understand. Make it free because that's free is better. That ain't the world. So here's what you do. You just make it unlockable. Paid DLC, individual content people can choose to buy or not. All you do, and by the way, Brian Williams, the developer, has said in interviews that it's a separate team that works on My Faction, and one doesn't really work with the other. I respectfully just say I don't like that answer of the reason why we cannot get a Scott Steiner in the base game. The telling us that it's because it's with My Faction and its own team and they do their own thing. I respectfully say that I don't like that answer, because how come a modder can go into your game and download it, and Status, by the way, as an example, has posted videos of how easy it is to put the My Faction characters into the game. It looks like, from a modder's perspective, I don't know how to mod, but from their perspective, it seems like a very simple change of code for them to get the characters in the base game. So I do not agree or believe that My Faction, Scott Steiner, Asuka, DX, whoever, it's impossible to get them out. I think it's just an exclusivity deal that they want, and that's why they run with it. And I don't think it's fair. What I think is fair to the consumer is giving the option to buy it, to pay and play in the base game if they want. Not everyone wants Scott Steiner. And guess what? That's okay. You don't have to buy him. But make it an option. That's my thesis. Allow play. Because if you're going to grind out in My Faction for 15 hours, 2K is going to love that because they look at the playtime on this mode, look at the person grabbing virtual currency, look at them buying packs or using their credits to get more packs and be engaged in playing the game. Yay, they win. Or they're going to drop real money, like $20 to buy packs, because that's what it is, the minimum, guys. It's about $15 to $20 for you to buy My Faction packs on your own with your dollars, your real credit card money. Why can't you just charge me $5 for Scott Steiner in the regular game? I can decide as a consumer, do I want to pay $5 for Scott Steiner or not. At least I have the option. And if the rest of the consumers say, that's crap, he should be free and in the game, I agree with you. But they won't do that. So if they're just like, we want make money, cool, here's a good way to make more money. That's why I'm so flabbergasted by this mode. That people are playing this. I don't believe it. FBE says status posted Fiend. Yes, so that's the next one, FBE. Thank you. The other bits that are coming out for my faction, what's the status is posted this? Alexa Bliss Dark is coming to my faction. So they're giving us new Alexa Bliss model in the game too. And also, status says Lily will be a playable my faction character in my faction. Bad Bunny 23, which we've talked about in previous videos here on the channel, looked to be in there because there's a placeholder for Bad Bunny. His big Backlash match, he is coming in the form of an Evo card. So he is not a playable character, an updated playable character that's going to be in there for a new model. It's going to be an Evo card, which is just a card. And how we all feel.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. The other one, Joe Mashups just posted this. Goldberg, 2003 Goldberg is coming to my faction. What's the difference between this and regular Goldberg? 2003 was his WWE run, his first run, where he had like his different trunks. This is when he first came in, challenged The Rock, and then even after like he had the goatee look, he then had the full beard. I actually like Bill with the big beard. Scary.
Go fuck yourself.
Thank you, Christian. Fiend just says, no, I meant that Alexa Bliss, he had Alexa with the Fiend mask in the game. No, I meant the Fiend Alexa Bliss, he had Alexa with the Fiend mask. Oh, I see. Okay. So, Bliss, Scott Steiner, Alexa Bliss, Fiend version, Lily as apparently a playable character, which has come out before like months ago. Bad Bunny, which according to status is just an Evo card, not playable. Go F yourself. Goldberg 2003. And I think that's it. So I'm hot about it because I don't think it's fair to players. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. But that's the big thing for me. Is it's not fair to players. Oh, they also changed the Fastlane card. Edge was on the cover of this card, by the way. So with the most recent, I guess, patch or whatever they're putting in there, they changed it out for Solo. It was Edge. That's hilarious too. See? It was Edge. It was Edge all along. It makes me mad that they do that, because that's not what players want. And it makes me mad that it's the direction that they're going in. I expect 3 years of my faction, 22, 23, 24. I assume try it for 3 years, put it on a 3-year cycle, and let's see how it performs. My only real hope is they see that the player base for my faction and that the return on investment is not there. My only hope is that they do not run this with 25 and they stop. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll stop. I think 2K is going to keep going. And that's what they're going to do. Oh, FB, thank you for your super chat. I did. Sorry. As I was just talking, I was flipping through and I saw this, and this is what you were talking about, is they did Alexa Bliss with the Fiend mask. Status did. The Fiend Alexa Bliss. That's scary. Oh my. Oh my. Jessup Myers, good day. So guys, what do you think regarding my faction? It's got me hot and bothered because I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good for fans. I don't think it's good for players. I think it's gambling. I think we see this in EA, and I don't like it. And I don't think it's what wrestling fans, the wrestling community, is looking for with their game. I think it's bad for kids. 2K is going to argue, and their marketing team and such will make the polite argument that what is the problem with having 2K, with having mode exclusives? There's nothing wrong with having exclusivity, but it's the way it is done. And that's what bothers players. And wrestling games, Vince Russo, wrestling games are not FIFA. Wrestling games is not Madden. The player base is not the same. The point of like getting Madden cards or MLB cards in their digital marketplace and going through that is different because there's also not the inherent investment the player, the consumer has with the character or the person, the wrestler, the set, the all of that, the superstar, the performer, the athlete. In the Madden Ultimate Team, it is about the stats. It is about the whole team you're forming. It's less to do with that player. It's the stats behind them that you're more intrigued with when it comes to those modes, in my opinion. Wrestling is different. Wrestling is about the connection you have with the performer, with the superstar, and in the video game, it's about playing as them and having that individual experience with that character, model, superstar, wrestler, because of the history, because they're cool, because you like them, because you're interested, because you want to play as them and do the moves and see the entrance and experience them. What's wrong with having exclusives in a mode? Nothing, but I think it turns your player base off when you're telling them to grind out a mode. Oh, you can do it for free, but pigeonhole them into a locked-in mode where they can't go and utilize what they grinded. So, like, let's put aside the monetary aspect of it. I think if you're going to ask anybody to grind out something for 10 plus hours, I think it's not good for the player that they cannot then, after all that hard work, utilize that wrestler like Scott Steiner in the regular game that they bought. I want to go have a match with Scott Steiner, and I decide that I'm going to have Scott versus Triple H in a no-holds-barred match. Well, I'm sorry, you can't. But you can use them in these matches that we have set up in the mode. I don't want to do that. That's what it is. So the argument of what's wrong with exclusivity, it's how it's built.